I really appreciate you joining me today, and this story is a follow-up to a case that I covered last year. I went to the scene of the murder in Kings Heath, Birmingham in April last year, where Ronique Thomas was stabbed on the high street. And this week, 3 men have been jailed for a total of 40 years for the murder and robbery of him in Kings Heath. Terrell Boyce, 18 years old from Birmingham, was convicted of his murder. Boyce was given a life sentence at Birmingham Crown Court on the 18th of March and will serve a minimum of 25 years in prison. Nathaniel Daly from Birmingham and Cody Stevenson from Stetchford also stood trial for the offence. Daly was found guilty of manslaughter and was sentenced to 10 years in prison, and Stevenson received 6.5 years for robbery. The three of them were involved in the fatal knife attack of 33-year-old Mr. Thomas from Edgbaston in the early hours of the 26th of April last year. The stabbing was the culmination of a dispute over the ownership of an electric bike, which Mr. Thomas reported stolen in October 2022. In March of last year, Mr. Thomas was with his partner in Highgate when he recognised the bike being ridden by Boyce. When he challenged him, Boyce reluctantly handed over the bike, but in the weeks that followed after the disagreement, he visited the workplace of Mr. Thomas's partner and demanded that the bike be returned to him, and he also made threats of retribution. It was only by sheer chance that Boyce, Daly and Stevenson were travelling in a taxi on their way through Kings Heath at 2:30 on the 26th of April 2023 when they spotted the bike outside a shop on the high street. Boyce instructed the driver to stop, and all three of them got out of the vehicle. Boyce confronted Mr. Thomas, who was in the shop, and he pulled out a knife and chased Mr. Thomas and attacked him several times. Daly was also carrying a knife, and he joined in the chase when Stevenson grabbed the bike when it was left outside the shop. After the attack, all three of them made off. Following an investigation, the police arrested Daly on the 27th of April, and Boyce had fled Birmingham and he was in Scunthorpe, but he was arrested 2 weeks later, and Stevenson handed himself in to police. Detective Inspector Jim Coleclough from the Homicide Investigation Team said Ronique Thomas tragically lost his life in an argument over an electric bike. Terrell Boyce felt slighted by Mr. Thomas for taking what he believed was his, and he sought revenge. They carried out a vicious attack and robbery, and he also had the assistance of Nathaniel and Cody. So this case is definitely makes you think, is this really worth doing 25 years in prison for? And also the fact that Mr. Thomas just coincidentally happened to be on the same high street at that time where they were passing. So I really appreciate you joining me for this episode, and thank you for following this story for the past year. And please pay respects in the comments to Ronique Thomas, and I'll be back again very shortly with some more news. Peace.